I'm your host, J. Mark Robinette Jr. Esquire, and joining me from the appropriately socially distanced Carlisle, Arkansas, the man who is the answer to the question, hey, who can I bum a cigar and a scotch from? It is the inimitable Coach William Roundtree. Are you there, Coach?
I am there, Mark. We will always have a cigar in case anyone needs one. I've only had one sip of scotch in my entire life. As a young 12-year-old, I snuck into my dad's cabinet and never really acquired that acquired taste, but we would be able to spot you a dash of bourbon if you needed that.
More of a bourbon guy. I meant to say bourbon. I knew that, but I forgot. I had the nerve as I began today, and we have quite a long day ahead of us. We're already behind the 8 ball today, 9 a.m. Got to get this out before the 1:30 p.m. post time. And we have 12 amazing races today, including the Oaklawn Mile and the Oaklawn Handicap. So, really quickly last week, anything you were incredibly pleased about from last Saturday's meet?
Don Corleone, the 4-year-old first-time starter, I hit the pick. Here's the deal. I'm not incredibly pleased because I did hit the 50-cent pick 4 there for $100. But if you recall, I indicated on the podcast last week with a lot of gusto that I loved Dallas Stewart to win his first win of the meet with winning impression, Joe Rocco riding it. He's 10-1. It's in the 8th race. Mark, I've got $200 to win on the horse. I've got a $40 exacta over the one horse who ran second. I've got a $20 double going forward to the one Kamari, who we did give you as a closer into the speed. I also started a $10 pick 3. The pick 4 would have paid more, near as I could tell. When my 6-horse wins for Dallas Stewart, immediately the red light goes on for the inquiry. They ended up taking that horse down. And my buddies and I put our pencils together and figured that takedown cost me about $30,000. So suffice it to say, the next morning watching our virtual church service, I did say a quick prayer about 30,000 times so that I would no longer hold it against the stewards on that decision. That was tough.
A lot of people got torpedoed by that inquiry, including my brother-in-law, Tim Hines, who texted me later in the evening on Saturday. Tim is a listener. I'll say a little quick shout-out to Tim up in Fayetteville. A lot of people were hurt by that, including Tim. Of course, I did not take the horse in that race. Of course, I didn't do well either. You know, I had a pretty rough day. I only cashed 2 tickets. Cashed a good exacta box, and the real heartbreaker of my day, of course, as in real life, was the Slime Queen, who I gave you, the number 3 horse. And like a true Slime Queen, out of the gate, running hard, leading around the first turn, leading at the halfway point, leading all the way, and just, you know, just when you're so emotionally invested in her, just like a true Slime Queen, she breaks your heart, drops to the back of the pack with 2 furlongs to go, and you lose. Oh, what a heartbreaker for me. Though it was a fun ride. As it often is with Slime Queens, it's a fun ride for the first 6 furlongs, Coach. All righty.
That's it.
Well, let's dive in here to our first race. We've got a 6-furlong sprint. For fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, $17,000 purse. It's a $6,250 claiming race, so clearly we're looking at the back of the barn here. What do you see at the back of the barn?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to do it for 12 races, just because I guess I've been coronaed too long, and I'm just kind of looking for a new thing to do. So, and it'll be easy for you to write the bets as we go. Here's the way I'm giving the card on the podcast. And I don't know that I will personally bet each race like this, but this is what I'm going to give today. Hypothetical. I'm going to give you a win bet. I'm going to bet $20 to win, okay? And then I'm going to give you a $4 exacta part wheel, the horse at a pick to win over 3 horses. And then I'm going to flip that $2 exacta part wheel those 3 horses over my pick in case my pick runs second. All right? So I'm going to spend I'm going to spend, hypothetically speaking, $38 a race. Okay? There's a 12-race card. So you got $380 plus $70, $456 I'll have invested hypothetically. Let's see how I do next week. Okay?
I will be watching you. Eyes all on you, Coach, to see how you do.
That's, we can chart it out, see how we go. So I'm going to give you a 12-to-1 shot in race 1, bottom of the barrel, noticeable jockey upgrade, I think. We go from Ezekiel Lara to Ramon Vasquez. 12-to-1 morning line. I'm looking at the 5-horse Gemini Journey. So I'm going to play 20 to win on the 5. I'm going to take $4 exacta part wheel, the 5 over the 1 as fast as you can for Diodoro. The 6, Anita Marie for Kim Poole, and that horse is 15 to 1 morning line. And the 12, Destiny's Love for Ingrid Mason. And then I'm going to take a $2 exacta wheel, part wheel, the 1, 6, 12 over the 5, the pick Gemini Journey.
Sounds fantastic. Coach, I am looking very closely at the number 1 horse, As Fast as You Can. The horse was in its best form ever in 2018. It had a long absence from January 19 to June 19, probably recovering from an injury. But it's very successful at claiming levels less than 10,000, and it sure looks like they're looking for a purse here because they have stuck David Cohen on this $6,250 claimer. Also sporting decent speed. Also looking good to me is Louise the Laser, the number 3 horse. This horse, if you look at its career, if you get your online daily racing form, you can view all past performances for the horse. I see a pattern with this horse that if you give this horse a month's rest, the horse will perform very well. So I'm going to take Louise the Laser along with As Fast as You Can, 1 and 3. I'm going to play those in a trifecta part wheel, 1, 3, over 1, 7, and 3, and then rounding out the third position, 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 11. Let's jump on to our next race. This is going to be race number 2, 6 furlong sprint. The purse has gone up to $27,000. The ladies are out running again. This is for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. So we've got here a field of 11 horses. So who in this field of 11 is going to stand up and catch your eye?
I'm, again, looking at a significant jockey change, a horse that ran really well. He's first out behind another horse that I think has a chance to win back today. Only question would be the long layoff, but he's got good works behind him. I am playing my $20 to win on number 8, Skull Factor, and then we'll take a $4 exacta part wheel. I'm going to take Skull Factor, the 8 horse.
Well, let me interrupt you, Coach. I think you're looking at the wrong race.
No. You're right. I'm on race 3. Okay. No. All right. I'm working ahead. My fault. Go back to it.
No problem.
I'm going to give you a shot here. I'm giving you a shot here. $20 to win on the 9, Hoptown Honey. Jockey upgrade from Chelsea Bailey to Ramon Vasquez, closing into a lot of speed. Hoptown Honey won't be 15 to 1. That's what we got in the morning line. I don't think we'll get that on him, but I am going to play 20 to win on the 9, Hoptown Honey. And then I'm going to take a $4 exacta part wheel, Hoptown Honey over the 2, NJ's Brass for Ingrid Mason, over the 4, Adhere to Me for Diodoro. And by the way, that horse has only won 3 in a row, so I mean, who knows if he'll win, but you figure he'll be in the hunt. And over the 8, horse that appears to be the favorite, Miss Imperial.
And then you will do...
then I'll flip it for $2. That's right, 248 over the 9.
The obverse. So you would call that essentially an exacta part wheel key box, with the 9 being the key. And, of course, it'll get boxed, which means it'll go both ways. So for the sake of brevity, we can refer to it that way.
That's fine. The only thing is I play a $4 one with the 9 on top and a $2 one the other way. That's how I save. That's how I save a little money that way.
It does. That does make sense. Coach, let's talk for a moment about Miss Imperial number 9. Why is this horse in this race? It certainly appears to me. Furthermore, we know that Florent Garou is here today. He should be.
Yeah.
And he's here for the 2 stakes races. Why is Florent Garou taking a mount in a $27,000 purse race? That's why my eye was caught by Miss Imperial. Probably will be the chalk horse. And I am going to do a similar strategy here. I'm going to key the 8 and take the 8 over 3, 4, 9, and 10, hoping that we might squeeze a little bit of value out of it. But probably will be the chalk horse. So when you see Florent Garou take a mount, you have to assume that that horse, there's plans for that horse. Now, whether he's just in this race here for a little bit of exercise or to...
He rides a lot for Brad Cox. You know, he's riding there for Cox.
He is indeed. But, you know, occasionally a trainer may be asked to fill a spot in an early race like this. So hard to say why that horse is there, but I think it will be a cut above the others. But I don't think we're going to get a price. Well, let's go on now to race number 3 of our 12-race card, another 6-furlong sprint, a maiden special weight, $60,000 purse. We've taken a precipitous step up from where we were purse-wise, and we have a lot of youngsters here. Almost everybody a first-time runner except for number 9, Violet Pass, number 12, Ideology, and number 6, Sailor Chow, number 8, Skull Factor. And now let's talk about Skull Factor, who I believe we had on the podcast before. We liked him, but he did not break his maiden. Do you think he's ready today?
He ran a really game second. And, yes, I do think he's ready today. I am playing my $20 to win on the 8, Skull Factor. They go from Mojica to Joel Rosario. I mean, I don't think we need to introduce our listeners to Joel Rosario. He's got good works. A little concerned that he didn't make it back to the track any quicker, but I'm going to put that concern behind me. I'm going to play 20 to win on the 8. I'm going to take a $4 exacta part wheel, the 8 over the 1, Belfast Boy. That's a first-time starter for Michael Puig. A lot of works, a lot of gate works. Interesting to me. I'm going to use the 3, Oak Room, Brad Cox. Joe Talamo gets a mount there. Juddmont Farms usually uses Bill Mott as a trainer, but good works here with this horse, first-time starter. And then I'm also going to use the 7 for a big price horse, first-time starter for Valerie Lunn. She's sent out 6 runners so far, 2 seconds and a third. She hadn't won yet. She had another third yesterday. Knocking on the door. One of these days she's going to win one here. So I'll take my $4 exacta wheel, 8 with 137, $2 exacta wheel, 137 with 8.
Sounds great. I, too, am a fan of Skull Factor. I'm wishing the horse well. Did you have a look at the also eligible coach? Did you see number 14?
I did look at the also eligible, and that was one thing I was going to say. 2 things that we have to put a disclaimer on. One is also eligible's drawing in. We didn't handicap that on our picks we're giving. And the other thing would be scratches. Yeah, Joe Sharp, Martin Garcia.
But more importantly, the sire, the Triple Crown winning American Pharaoh. And
taking the blinkers off, which is a 29% move for that trainer.
Yeah, look at the price tag, $410,000 for a 3-year-old colt. from American Pharaoh. Might even be a good deal. If that horse shows up, he may be worth taking, but he isn't also eligible, and they very often do not make the card. But caveat being, if he's there, you got a price, you may want to work him in, folks.
Absolutely.
My strategy here is number 8, Skull Factor, I believe, is the horse to beat. However, to get a little value out of it, I'm going to do an exact apart wheel with 8, 1, and 9, and I'm going to take that over 8, 1, 9 and add the 2 and 3. The 2 and 3 presents a really good, as does 1, presents a great maiden special weight angle. The trainer's 33% on maiden special weight. Michael Pullick on number 1 Belfast Boy, as is Steve Admison, 22% for maiden special weights. And number 3 Oak Room by Brad Cox, 25% at maiden special weights. I'm going to play that angle, and if we can get number 14 in the race, I'm going to work him in there, may drop someone, and add in number 14 if we can get a price. Although, if the betting public is out, you may not get a price on number 14 because of that great name, American Pharaoh. All right, let's move on now. Race number 4. We have gone up to a mile. We are now on the routes. We have here is an optional allowance claiming $61,000 purse for 3-year-olds. A lot of conditions on this. A good opportunity to perhaps stretch out a young horse, or to bring some older horses back into form, which appears to be what we've got here. A lot of interesting entries here. A lot of them are stakes runners. So out of this field, who are you going to take?
I thought this was a very tough race, and by the way, none of these are older. They're all 3-year-olds. I thought it was a tough race, and to be honest, this would be one as a better out of my pocket. I might pass, but I used 20 to win on number 4 Scabbard for Eddie Keneally. Brian Hernandez, a jockey that I really, really like. The horse has been in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3s, competed, cutting back a little bit. So I went 20 to win on the 4, and I took a $4 exact apart wheel, the 4 over. Now here's an old blast from the past, the old New York Mets outfielder Cleon Jones out of the 1 hole. Then I used the number 2, being an old basketball coach, for Peter Urton's Shooter Shoot, and I used number 5, Blackberry Wine, who very well may be a wire-to-wire opportunity winner. So that was my $4, and then $2, 125 over the 4.
Sounds great. The number 5, Blackberry Wine, won its last race by 13 lengths, running a 93 Beyer. Did you know this horse is from the legendary Calumet Farm?
Mm-hmm.
You know where the Calumet name comes from in the fortune, do you, Coach?
Mm-mm.
Calumet baking powder, the one
All right.
that you see with the, it's in the can, it's got the Indian on it. Yeah, that's the Calumet baking powder fortune. They had a great string of horses way back in the day in the 60s,
yeah, they
and
did.
50s, and they have kept the operation going. I've looked at this race, a lot of potential class droppers here. You always wonder why you're dropping class to be in this race. I reckon a lot of it's just exercise and practice. Can't risk the horse on a claim. I like number 4, Scabbard, as well. I like number 5, Blackberry Wine, and I think the way I'm going to play it, I'm going to play the 5 in with number 2, Shooter Shoot, like that, and then the number 6, Warriors Map, for a little bit of value, I believe. I'm going to go 2-5-6 over 2-5-6-4-1 for an exact apart wheel. And I shall kiss the ticket, bless it, hope for the best, and move on to race number 5. We have here 6 furlong sprint, $60,000 purse. We're holding our purses right about the 60,000 point in this point of the card. And we have Oh, these are fillies. So we're back to running the ladies here. Which of these beautiful ladies is the most beautiful, Coach?
Well, I tell you, again, and this is not taking the easy way out, but this is just a tough race. A lot of potentially good horses, some of them very expensive. I'm taking one with a really hot jockey on it that's not one of the real expensive horses. Just a little hunch play here. Have you noticed what Stuart Elliott has done this past week? He's on fire. I'll take number 11, Silver Bella, for Dan Pites, 20 to win on the 11. I'll take a $4 exacta part wheel, the 11 over the 2, Millennium Force. I'll use the 3, French Cafe, at a price for Mike Maker. And I'll use the 9, Signify, for Dallas Stewart, also at a price. Maybe hit us a big exacta if we're right, and then take the $2 239 over the 11. Play the 11.
I like the 11 as well. I think that's a good play. Number 11, Silver Bella. This horse has ran the distance before and placed. That's always a good sign for a maiden race. The last race out, they have been in the money, and also a good sign. You're running a sprint over 120 pounds, carrying 120 pounds weight. They all are carrying that, but that's it's ensures top speed. And then if you look at the performance in that race, the horse made a late bid, also a very good sign. So I think that horse, number 11, Silver Bella, could do very well. It's a tough call here. But I am going to favor instead the number 2, Millennium Force, who also showed a very, very promising first out placing. The number 3, French Cafe, for a bit of value, hoping that that comes through at a good price. This is the most experienced horse in the field, I believe, has run 3 races. I'm going to take that, number 2 and number 3, over 2, 3, and then 11, Silver Bella, your pick, and also Cynical Girl, number 12. So it's 2, 3 over 2, 3, 11, 12. And now, as we sprint on through the card, making excellent time here, Coach, we are becoming route runners for sure, picking up the pace. Race number 6, a 1-mile race, staying right there at the $61,000 purse mark. And we have a allowance with an optional claim. It looks like the claiming price, the one that is up for grabs here for $80,000, I can find it, is number 4, For the Love of Bourbon. Coach, let's hear it. What's the good news?
Oh, I think this is logical. Horse broke his maiden in fine fashion over a horse that we picked earlier in the card, putting the go-to rider in Santana on it. I'll go with number 7, Pneumatic, 20 to win on the 7. Not at a price. I just think he's a logical winner. $4 exacta part wheel. Take the 7 over number 2, Captain Bombastic. Number 4, For the Love of Bourbon, who I think maybe factors here with a good trainer in D'Amato who's handled Oaklawn well. And then the third horse in the exacta will be the 6, Geo Care, for Todd Pletcher. And then we'll turn it around to a $2 exacta part wheel, 246 with a 7.
Yes, For the Love of Bourbon. Certainly, I'm sure he also pairs well with a fine cigar.
I'm sure he does.
I found this to be a tough one to handicap. I thought we've got at least 5 horses, I think, that are contenders here. A lot of them are pretty chalky that I'm going to give you here. But frankly, I don't think anybody knows how this is going to go. Number 2, Captain Bombastic. Number 6, Geo Care. I always like it when the horse has Florent Guru aboard. He is an infrequent jockey and a top-flight jockey. If you had to key a horse, I might go with number 6, Geo Care, if you care to key a horse in some sort of exotic bet. Number 7, Pneumatic. the Steve Asmussen horse. Only question I have about this horse is, can the horse stretch? It's only ran at 6 furlongs, so got to stretch him out to a mile. Can he do it? Or rather, are these here he's or she's? Yeah, these are he's. Number 8, my friend's Beer, and number 9, Ancient Warrior. Use those however you see fit. You may go with the Superfecta box. I think that's what I'll do. That's a fairly inexpensive bet at a dime, multiplied by however many times that is. I believe that's a $12 bet. Or you could key the number 6 in perhaps an exacta part wheel, 6 over 2, 7, 8, 9. All righty. We're now on to race number 7, and I think we are on for record time here, Coach, but let's not get complacent. Let's keep it going. Maiden special weight, another $60,000 purse. Not a lot of information to go on here beyond the works and a pretty thin record. So working with what you have to work with, who will you take, Coach?
I'm going to use a horse, and this has been good for me as a bettor. It's also been oftentimes an albatross around my billfold, if you know what I mean. I tend to be extremely hard-headed when I think I've got something, and it takes me a little while maybe to work that out of my system. This will be a shocking pick, and this is probably good that I'm only investing a $20 win bet. I'm going to give him another shot, though. We've talked about him on the podcast. We've indicated inside information on the podcast. How he didn't win last time, you would have to ask Alex Concheri, who, thank goodness, is not riding him today. I'm going way to the outside, Mark. 20 to win on number 12, Beaver Hat for Brian Williamson. He'll be a big price horse. His buyers are light, blah, blah, blah. I've already listened to my friends as to why he's not the pick. But the old hard-headed coach is going 20 to win on the 12, Beaver Hat with Mojica, definite jockey upgrade. I'm going to put the 12 over the 5, Plain Talk, the 6, Absolute Unit, and the 11, Earner on my $4 exacta, and then my $2 one I'll have 5, 6, 11 over the 12. I know I stunned you. You did not get the Beaver Hat. I could already tell by your pause there.
I think it's a little warm for Beaver Hat. I think it's a little warm. So
yeah.
I'm going to go with the number 1 horse, Pit Boss, Wayne Catalano training.
He's 0 for 43 with first-time starters. I know you saw that.
He is. And I know that from last week. And you know what?
Yes,
he's going to break it. And we're going to get a price on him. But I'm not stopping there. I'm also going to take the number 9, Tonal Talitarian. What a mouthful of name. Like the horse, think we'll get a price there. I'm going value here. I'm going to go 1-9 over 1, 6, 9, 10, and 11 in an exacta part wheel. So as we continue down, we're rounding the second turn here, Coach, at just under 30 minutes. We're doing great. Race number 8. We've got ourselves a 1-mile route. Purse still lingering at $61,000 here. We're not to the big money yet. We've got quite a field here. 12 for sure. 2 also eligibles. We could be up to 14 horses. So who will be the key in this race?
I'm playing the number 9 horse, Proverb. 20 to win on the 9. $4 exacta part wheel. I'm going to take the 9 with the 10, 11, 12. I realize I'm using the outside horses. Of course, a $2 exacta part wheel, 10, 11, 12 over the 9. Really, I've played Pickford. I thought the race might be a little short for Pickford. I wouldn't be shocked if the 12 came right back. But anyway, I went with the 9 Proverb. I think Richard Baltus, a trainer, Joel Rosario, horse has been a grade 3 runner. Been on the Oaklawn surface 5 times with a win and 3/3. Taking a shot with a 9.
The number 9 Proverb. And let us hope that the old proverb, a fool and his money are soon parted, does not come to pass, Coach.
I hope not.
I am going to go with a bit of a long shot play here. These are all good horses. They're all pretty close on speed figures. I'm going to support our favorite jockey, Kelsey Haar, number 1 Bandit Point on the rail, and the number 2, All West, trained by Wayne Catalano. I'm going to take 1 and 2, and I'm going to wheel it into a trifecta part wheel. I'm going to go 1-2, over 1-2-9, over 1-2-8-9, and 11, and hope that my exotic dream comes true. I finally cash a triple-digit exotic ticket. I have not cashed one in some time, so wish me the best.
I will definitely wish you the best, and I'm going to be honest with you. Let me step in right here. Tip of the hat to Kelsey Haar. She's into double-digit victories, had her win yesterday. She is really having a nice meet. This is a great horse. I've made money on this horse. Only thing I questioned was the mile distance, but Robert Klein and Kelsey hooking up there with the 1 may have a good shot.
I think so. It'll be a great price. How much longer is she going to be an apprentice, Coach?
I don't know.
I don't know how that works either. I don't know how long you have to be an apprentice before they take that little...
It might be so many wins.
I think so. And if you look at your form, folks, if you look at the weight on your form, next to the L, because that L stands for Lasix, which they're all on, it has 112, and there next to the form there's a superscript with a 7. If there's a superscript by the weight, that means the jockey is an apprentice. I've been reading Dr. Quinn's seminal book on handicapping, Coach. I'm learning all kinds of interesting things, which I'm going to share with folks as we go along today. Excellent book. Have you ever read it?
No, I have not, but it's James Quinn, isn't it?
Yes, James Quinn.
Yeah,
PhD,
he's very
mathematics.
He's
professor
very well regarded.
Oh yeah. Well, let's move on now, as we have reached the 9th race. We are getting very close, almost to the final stretch here. We've got the Oaklawn Mile. Now we're talking about some money, folks. $150,000 purse. This brings them in. If you haven't noticed on the card today, we have a lot of invaders showing up from the fairgrounds and various other tracks whose meets have ended, but in particular the fairgrounds. We have a lot of invaders from there looking to take our purses. We will get in this race, let's see, what is the nominee? Okay, this is not going to give you any derby points, I don't believe, or get you into anything else, but it's still a $150,000 race. Been ran forever, the Oaklawn Mile. And we have quite a field. For sure and confirmed, 14 runners, barring any late scratches, including the dreaded Bob Baffert horse, which we have in the race. Number 14, Improbable. Hard to ignore when Bob Baffert comes calling. So how do you play this one?
You'll be shaking your head on this one. I'm digging for a price. Again, I'm going to have a total investment here on my mythical bankroll of $456. I'm trying to turn a profit. I need a double-digit horse. I'm looking to an Arkansas owner combo out of Marshall, Arkansas. Made a lot of money in the contracting business in Dallas, Texas. He's got Dallas Stewart now with a horse. I'm playing number 10, Mark, Long Range Toddy. And I'm going to take yes, I got 20 to win on the 10. I'm going to have a $4 exacta part wheel, the 10 over the 2-3-4. 2-3-4 over the 10.
You are certainly looking for a price if you're going to take Long Range Toddy. Its morning line is 10-1. And, I don't have anything really negative to say about the horse. The horse
two for three at the distance mark.
Yeah.
Four outs at Oaklawn, a win the second and the third. Recent form is not there because he's been off. He's coming off a layoff. What if he pops fresh here? What if he pops fresh?
What if he does? Yes, and we've had a trainer change, and it looks like it's a very lightly raced horse on the whole. Has not started a 2020 campaign as of yet. So perhaps the trainer change is going to make a difference. I mean, even under Asmussen's tenure as trainer, the horse did, on total, win 4, place once, show 3, or twice. So if you look at that, the horse is, one thing I've learned about is the so-called bridesmaid number. Have you ever heard of that, Coach?
Mm-mm.
So the bridesmaid number, you take the win, and you subtract from it the sum of the place in the show, and that will tell you whether the horse is a perennial second or third place horse, a bridesmaid, never the bride.
I got you. Yep.
So you look at the bridesmaid number here, that's a 1, which is positive. It's not till you get above +3 that you have a something extremely significant. Once you start going negative, you're starting to become a bridesmaid. So this horse is on a trend to be a winner in its career and has, look at the earnings by this thing. That may be our top earning horse, $918,000. I believe Mr. Money is the appropriately named Mr. Money at $1.2 million. Tom's the top, $1.2 million.
And Snapper Sinclair
1.2. So this horse, I believe, is our third highest earning, other than him. I believe he's right there with Improbable in that class as far as earnings. So I can't gainsay that pick. I think that's a good pick, and I think you're going to get a good price.
Yep.
I might have to work your pick into my pick. This is where I stand at the moment. At the moment, I like number 4, Pioneer Spirit. I think we'll get an okay price on Pioneer Spirit. And, of course, I'm going to take the Baffert horse with everybody else. He's just hard to deny, Coach. He's a guy that can make a horse win. So I'm going to go 4-14, put it in a trifecta part wheel, 4-14-6, 4-14-6, 7-8. I may decide to work in your 10 and make the ticket a little bit more expensive. I'm going to decide at post time when we get the final odds. It may be that Improbable has gone so expensive that you'd be upside down on your bet with him, and I may knock him out of that first place and try to go for a good price and an actual payoff rather than some piddling earnings. Well, let's go on now to 10, race number 10. We're still at a route of a mile and a 16th, $60,000 purse. Not much more to say here. 3-year-old maidens. Got a few Triple Crown nominees in this race. And, of course, I believe our very favorite horse that we've talked about on the podcast, the imminent Dean Martini, number 10. The moon is hitting your eye like a big pizza pie. It's
a pie. That's amore. That's
right.
it.
And we gave him to you on the podcast. He had a great out last time around. He charged at the stretch, came in second, 1 3/4 lengths back with Joe Talamo aboard. So he returns with Joe Talamo aboard today. I am certainly going to run with Dean Martini. I like him, number 10, Dean Martini, and I'm going to go ahead and add Oxide, number 7, though I'm a little bit questioning whether we're going to get a decent enough price on him. But I'm going to go Oxide and Dean Martini and take him over Hunt the Front, repeating Oxide and Dean Martini, and also the 12 horse. 12 horse is Hunt the Front, and number, let's see, 12, 5, 7, 10. Who am I leaving out here, Coach? The 5, Instigated. There we go. So we're going to go put Instigated on the bottom. So 7, 10 over 5, 7, 10, 12 exacta. And so, Coach, are you going to croon with Dean Martini today, or do you have another favorite that you're going to put on the bandstand?
Well, again, we're looking for value. Let me say this. I'm spending a little more money here because I'm using an extra horse that you alerted me to on my exacta part wheel, and I'll talk about that. But, yeah, I crooned about Dean Martini. I spent about $300 on the nose of Dean Martini that day, and he ran second. I think Dean Martini is a very logical playback, but however, when one is trying to go for the big kill, he sometimes strays away from logic, and who better to lead us in that stray away from logic than our dining partner when this whole thing got started pre-corona. We were there for the Oaklawn Anywhere, the Oaklawn kickoff banquet, right there at the Riverfront Wyndham owned by Frank Fletcher, and we joined the table of the inimitable and the always exciting and always jovial Dash Goff. 80 years young. He's had a good meet with horses he owned. He's got an interesting horse in here, Hugo. They're going to stretch him out. De La Cruz, the jockey, a good one for DeVito, the trainer. He's only had one out. We don't know if he's a route horse, but they're certainly going to try it. He's had some really nice works as of late. I think the horse is very fit, and he will be at a price. We'll give you the 20 to win on number 6, Hugo, and we'll take a $4 exacta wheel, the 6 over the 5, instigated the 7 Oxide, the 10 Dean Martini, and the 12 Hunt the Front. Flip it for $2. And I would suspect if Hugo, the 6, can get into the winner's circle, one Dash Golf might have a Dean Martini on his way to get his picture taken.
I think he will. Good angle. I'm looking at the fitness of the horse here. Good works. 1 of 9, 1 of 13, 1 of 26, 1 of 15. So they've been working this horse, getting the horse into shape. Of course, you're going for a pretty big deal here to go from a sprint to a route. Can the horse stretch? And I think that's why you get your price on this. And I think you ought to get a really good price.
I think we'll get a good price. I think they'll put the gas to the horse immediately. I think they'll try to take the field wire to wire. And if I could envision what I would want to happen, maybe you go into the winner's circle, Dean Martini for second, the biggest bomb on the board coming third, and you hit you a little $1 try at no extra charge, 610, 610, all.
Now, if we're just going to look at the name, Coach, you know what a Yugo is. A Yugo is a very poorly made, slow Yugoslavian car. So, with 3 cylinders, correct, sir. So let's hope that there's at least 8 cylinders under the hood of Dash's horse. Let's hope that it is not inappropriately named Yugo, although there's no why. Coach, here's an interesting fact I learned from the Quinn book, or perhaps it was another book I was reading. I got just a ton of thoroughbred books. I'm prepping up, getting ready to teach. Next spring, I'll be teaching an equine law class at the William Bowen School of Law. I've cleared it with the dean. We had a little quid pro quo. If I would come back and teach oil and gas law, he would let me do the equine law class, which I look forward to taking many field trips with the class to the track.
You bet.
So one thing I learned from one of those books, perhaps it was the first-time thoroughbred owner's book that I've been reading, is that the way these horses are named, they have to have 18 characters or less, and you submit the names, your choice of names, in order that you want them to the jockey club, and the jockey club will then determine the name of your horse, what's appropriate. I believe in one of these races, and I believe it's our final, or perhaps race 11, the Oaklawn. We had a horse and I don't know, we might have already missed it, but there was a horse that formerly raced under the name Noose, Noose. And Noose was renamed to something, I don't remember what, but I guess perhaps there was some fear of being politically incorrect having the horse name Noose out there. But just a quick factoid for all of you who are very interested in the sport, as I am, want to know how things work. So
well, I wished I could audit that class in the spring. Of course, I've gotten back in the job market, and I'll be the superintendent of schools here at Carlisle, so I won't be able to do that. But I would like to visit your library someday, and certainly I think that'd be an interesting course. One other horse we need to look at in race 10, Mark, something that's very, very interesting. Hardly ever do you see this. And the horse only has one out, and he ran second, albeit a distant second, behind Blackberry Wine, who's in another race today. Look at that 4-horse. What a country for longtime Oaklawn semi-retired trainer Gary Red Dog Hartledge. And you see 3 posted 7-furlong works. You'd hardly ever see works that long.
You hardly see races at 7 furlongs. That's an odd, very odd distance. But gosh, yeah, you're right. That has certainly escaped my all-seeing eye here.
Well, that horse has a chance here, I think.
And again, what a name there. What a country. A callback to those of you who are old enough to remember to the great comedian Yakov Smirnoff.
That's he worked in Branson there. He worked in Branson for a while.
Is he still with us?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know if his theater's still open in Branson.
I don't know if the theater's still open or not, but he was a funny guy.
He was. He had his little shtick. What a country. An immigrant from the behind the Iron Curtain. Well, let's roll on to the Oaklawn, a mile and an 8. Hope you got a lot of gas in the tank, horses, because you're going to need it to run a mile in an 8. $200,000 purse. And we have in this race at least one big name that I recognize, and that would be Basin. Probably going to be our chalk horse. What do you think, Coach?
Well, and you alluded to it. Nice job of foreshadowing as we go into handicapping a race. Mile and an 8. We don't see a lot of those here at Oaklawn.
We do not.
And that's a demanding distance, and this is a quality field. I landed my $20 to win bet on number 8, Tayshan, however you say it, for Richard Baltus, Joel Rosario. Again, just kind of looking for something to put as far as perhaps value. I took my 8 over the 2, who will be maybe the longest shot on the board. The 6, who's 10-1 morning line for Asmussen, and the 11 background, and then a $2 exacta part wheel, 2-6-11 over the 8. Again, mostly on the exacta, just looking for shots that I thought, well, what if? Could they get second? Blah, blah, blah. But I played the 8.
Yeah, that's good enough play because, if you're looking for value, you're going to find it there. And, because you've got a Baffert horse in this race, number 4,000 words, and you have Basin in this race, that's number 1 horse, there's going to be a lot of money. They're going to suck money in like a black hole. They're going to be extremely chalky. So sometimes you got to take a chance and go be a contrarian, go for the big money. And Tayshan, I feel, Coach, might be outclassed here.
Might be.
If you look at the rest of the field, he may be outclassed. He had a good out last time, won by 4 3/4. But if you look at everybody else in this race, lots of experience, the longer distances, a lot of big stakes races, and that he caught my eye. I thought hard about it, but I just feel he might be outclassed.
So who'd you go with?
Well, I hate to be chalky, but all I can figure in this race, if you're going to get a little bit of value and not spend a fortune on a ticket, what you really want is for someone to be a usurper and get in there. I think our usurper might be, at a good price, number 5, Sir Rick. Now, Sir Rick, I think, could be a bit outclassed as well. But look at his performances. This horse has had no problem winning convincingly at 1 1/16. Won his last out by 4 lengths. It's been shipped in, so you know he is in good shape. Steve Asmussen was fired. Robertino Diodoro has been put in his place. We've got David Cohen. So if you look at an underdog story here, I think Sir Rick may be it. Morning line of 15-1. So I think the way I'll play it is I will play the 2 chalk horses, 1 and 4, along with the 5 in an exacta box, in hope that Sir Rick comes in and becomes an interloper in some way. Now, it could be I'll wind up with a 1-4 or a 4-1 in that, and I'll maybe get my money back on the ticket. But I'm looking for an interloper, and I don't want to spend a lot. That's what I went with.
And I don't think that's a bad play at all. The only contrarian viewpoint I will tell you is if you think
double contrarian.
Hey, listen, if you think Ty-Shan is cheap, too cheap for the race, then my question to you, Jay Bark, Robinette, how in the hell do you not think Sir Rick is too cheap?
Well, as I told you, I think he may be outclassed. He may be.
Well,
I like his past performances, though. He is showing he's plucky. He's very plucky. I mean, Tay-Shan certainly has shown a little pluck. But let's look here in the kind of the horse's form cycle, okay? And we could probably dig up, okay, only 7 races, and we're given 5 of them here. So it looks like the horse, let's see, January 20th, February, 4 January, 17 February, lost big, came back 14 March, won big. You go back a little ways, in his last campaign, 17th of August, lost big, 3rd of November, won a little bit. I don't know. I mean, this might be one of those horses that has one of those form cycles where they race for a couple of races, then give it their all, and then they've got to recharge for a little bit and come back. I don't know. He looks like he may have one of those weird form cycles. That's what spooked me a little bit about him. And I thought Sir Rick, on the other hand, looks like a top form kind of horse. I mean, you look at his last campaign in 2019. Started in July, came in 5th, and just started winning. Win, show, another convincing win. And so here we are in his second campaign in 2020, or rather his first campaign of 2020, second of his career. Yep, $10,000 sire. He's cheap, that's true, but I think the horse is a winner. He likes to win. That would be my case.
And you got a hot trainer in Diodoro, so I'm not talking you off your pick at all.
Well, yeah, I'm not offended. That's the whole thing here. We gotta jab each other a little bit here.
That's
it. Well, and we have made it in a blazing 55 minutes to 12 races, which is usually what it takes us to do 10. So I think we are in top form today, Coach. And
why did you like razor sharp?
And in a very unusual move, we actually have a decent purse for the final race. It's $62,000, 1 1/16, and it's an optional allowance optional. Claiming, looks like our claiming price is going to be $50,000 here. Probably not a lot of danger that anybody's going to lose their horse on a claim. So a fairly safe race to to work your horse out, and it's actually optional. I guess they don't have to offer it. So what do you like?
Shopping for value, Mark. Shopping for value. I land on the 8, Charlie's Archangel. Tom Amos is having a very good meet here. This horse went 1 mile and 3/16 in February. Ran very game, very competitive. They've given him some time off, but the workouts would show that he's not hurt. They're maintenance-type workouts. Interesting little move here, but it's not an alarming move. I would assume that Talamo's riding first call for Cox today. So I think a very capable, underrated journeyman jockey, Jermaine Bridgemahan, takes the mount. And he's ridden the horse before, so he knows the horse. I'm going to play 20 to win on the 8, Charlie's Archangel. And then I'm going to have my $4 exacta wheel, the 8, over the top of the 1. And you talk about a trainer that's had a good week, John Sadler. Watch this horse. Stretching this horse out, never been this far, comes off a good work. I was really between the 8 and 1 on my win play. But anyway, I put a $4 exacta part wheel, the 8 with the 1. The 5, Popular Kid. He probably, fits the bill of what you're looking for. The last 2 races, he's won by 14 lengths combined at this distance. They've both been in an off-track setting, and his number to me is way better on an off-track than a fast track. That's kind of why I'm playing against him. So I'm going to use the 8 over the 1 and the 5, and then I'm going to drop down and use the 10, the old veteran closer, Sonny Smack. So I'll have a $4 exacta part wheel, 8 with 1, 5, 10, $2 exacta part wheel, 1, 5, 10 with 8.
Sounds great. I like every one of the horses you picked. In fact, I liked them so much, I didn't know what to do. I've got 1, I've got 5, I got 8, I got 10. I also like the number 9, Casanova, the Steve Landers racing horse trained by Brad Cox, Joe Talamo aboard. Seems to be showing a good price to begin with. Don't know where it's going to go. How you do this, you could do a superfecta box, although that's going to cost you a little bit of money. It's going to bump it up to, I believe, is that $660 for a 5-horse box? I forget, but the problem is you got to have you got to be 80% correct here. You got to get 4 of those right. That's tough to do. It may not be a good bet, but something to think about. I think if I'm going to have to part wheel an exacta here, which is something I like to do, probably I'm going to take the 1 and the 8, and I'm going to put it over 1, 8, 5, 9, and 10. Now, I may, and I believe our what is our 8 going off at here? 10 to 1. Yeah, that's going to be all. Should be all value. Should be all value. Now, if we start to have a problem with that value, substitute 1 from the bottom back to the top to get the value. I think you got to go for it. Try to cash a ticket here, because our number 5, Popular Kid, will be a popular kid indeed. I think that horse is going to get bet way, way down. So perhaps the odds will hold on everything else. Let's hope so. But that is probably the horse to beat in the race. Ran 9 at the distance, 404 Tomlinson number, 5 wins, 1 place. His bridesmaid number +4, which means very good horse. He's a winner. Trained by Jason Barkley.
And owned by a friend of mine, Charles Jennings, who owns the Back Porch Grill in Hot Springs.
Hey, that is a fine place to eat. I look forward to when this COVID-19 miasma lifts, so that I might once again enjoy a fine meal at the back porch there. I believe that's at this dockside there at the Sunday Resort.
It is. That's exactly where it's at. Great place. Matter of fact, we ought to hope that it clears soon so that we can join for a fine meal there.
That would be wonderful, Coach. Would indeed. Well, my friend, we've hit the 1 hour mark, which means I've got to get to engineering the podcast and getting it out before the 1:30 post time, hopefully an hour in advance so that everybody can listen. And folks, if you're listening on YouTube and you need to cut through the bull, you can always fast forward. You can always, another trick I've learned, if you go to the settings part of your YouTube, you want to speed up the very slow talking Southerners, Coach and I are. You may do so by going to settings and adjusting the speed. You can play this at 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed, or if you really, really want to, you can play us at 2 times speed. But
hey, I got news for you too. You're wrong. You're wrong about something.
What's that, Coach?
First post 12:35. First post is 12:35.
That's right. We are on a Saturday. So
yep. It's early with 12 races. You got to get to work. Enjoyed it. Have a great Easter. To all of our listeners, be safe and enjoy a great day of racing at Oaklawn Park.
Coach, happy Easter. Thank you as always. Your keen insight and wisdom is appreciated. I know everyone who listens appreciates it. Thank you so much. Happy Easter, and I will see you next time, my friend.
See you next time, Mark. Bye-bye.
Thank you.